Internet people! It's Multiplier here for the Paper Shredder Bass Sound Design Challenge. Now, where did this challenge come about from? So a few days ago, I was shredding some love letters from Dylan Francis, and I was using the paper shredder to do said paper shredding. I was turning it on, making it go bzzz, turning it into paper shreds. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I could turn the sound of the paper shredder into a bass sound? Henceforth, the Paper Shredder Bass Sound Design Challenge. And that's what's going on right now. Now, that is just the noise of me bashing it. I'm not going to use that noise. I'm going to make the bzzz noise by plugging it in. Safety. A note about safety. When plugged in, do not put your fingers into the finger hole. There's a time and a place to put your fingers into a finger hole. Paper shredder's not one of them, so you must be really careful. Now, if I violate health and safety here, I'm a trained professional in the art of paper shredding. So, in fact, I'm going to make this a bit. No, I'm going to leave the because I don't want to leave the. This all comes apart. Probably safer, actually. Definitely safer if I don't disassemble it. So, that was quite startling. Now, first thing I've noticed is it's kind of broken. You might be able to tell the normal on direction doesn't do anything, but backwards works. So we're going to do some reverse paper shredding here, but it's still paper shredding. Now, question is, what level do I set the preamps to on my microphone? What I'm going to do is start off at a distance and get closer, not shredding the microphone, and then I'll keep my eyes on the level meters. If it gets crazy, then I'll just back off a bit. I reckon that will work. So just wait for the helicopter to fly away so it doesn't interrupt the perfect recording of this paper shredder. There's also Bumblebee flying around. It's pretty chaotic right here. It's just over there now. It's pretty chaotic over here, but that's okay. Maybe the chaos in the Bumblebee and the helicopter will add some character to the recording of the paper shredder, which will be turned into mega bass sound. Start over here and get closer without shredding my fingers, remember, because of health and safety. Also, I kind of want to get my face in it. So, not in the shredder, just in the shot, so you can see my face, because that'd be good. It's much heavier than I initially anticipated. Nailed it. So out of breath. But yes, cool. That is the raw recording. What I'm going to do now is put it on the floor, unplug it, because remember, safety first, kids and grown-ups, and in-betweenies, in between the kid and the grown-up stage. Safety first, and I was going to say something. Oh yeah, using the magic of editing, I can actually show you what the completed bass sound sounds like, as well as then, of course, showing you how I made it. So, completed bass sound. And this is how I made it. Day 2, let's do this. Right, here is the raw recording. You've already heard that, right? What I'm going to do is use Serum to be the heart of it all. I'll get a bit of something going, a bit of a bass line, and then I'll process it afterwards and make it all nice and sparkly. So, Serum, first of all, Serum, there you go. So, Serum, I will drag that out. Move everything out of the way, bingo, bango, bongo, and just make sure I don't get lost on the Ableton push. E minor, E0, E0 to E4. Magic, and I'll turn down Serum as well, say -6, give myself some headroom. Buttons. In fact, what I'm going to do is normalize this raw recording. So Command J to consolidate, and then I can set the clip gain, if you ignore Serum, to 0 on the clip, and that does a bit of normalization. Boing! I will drag in the audio into Serum, choose, say, FFT, the bigger number, that will give me a higher pitch sort of cycly thing. So boom, getting boing, and there is the audio chopped up into cycles, but I only want a few of them, so I'll get rid of, say, 8 onwards, so remove selected to end, and then morph to turn those 8 cycles into a complete wavetable. Morph spectral, like so. we can work with that. First of all, I'll get some harmonic movement. So I'll get LFO1 in trigger mode over, say, a bar just to move through the wavetable. And I'll run it through a filter with the sub oscillator. S for sub, so the sub goes through the filter. And maybe a shallower one. Crank up the drive, so I'm distorting through the filter. So I'll turn down the master, since when you turn up the drive in the filter, the gain goes way up. Oh, and the sub level's now too high, so pull that down. Oh, for reference, probably should have shown you those sounds with the cutoff on the right side, so you hear all the harmonics properly. Makes sense? Now what I'm going to do is use a second modulation source, LFO2, to provide the pattern, the riff for this bass line, and I'm going to assign that to the cutoff on the filter and create a bit of a pattern. Boing, LFO2. What's going on? This way around, right, like that. And then maybe something like that. Pull down the resonance, hit it into trigger mode, so it always starts at the beginning of the LFO every time, and change the rate to be 2 bars, so it will be a 2 bar long riff, a 2 bar long phrase. I can then hold Alt to lock in, I'll set the grid size to 16s. I can then hold Alt, and that locks in the nodes to the grid, and I can draw in some form of pattern with the LFO bit. Nice. Look. Ooh, and it sounds like stuff. So now all I need to do is create a more interesting pattern by inserting more nodes and changing the curviness of each of the nodes. So, I need a personal assistant for this. Oh, no, come up there, you. What are you doing? Stay there, you maniac. Right. No. So that's all you need. Now, this looks pretty boring, but believe me, once I do the next step, it'll look like all interesting and stuff, which will be fun. And maybe a doubler for the final one. Just cause YOLO. Let go. YOLO, right? Because yeah, right. There you go. Oh, got confused. But I can make it much more interesting. By changing the curviness of all these different things, I can create a proper little groove, a proper little rhythm, not rhythm. Maybe that one. Up, down, down. Oh, I get so confused with the hand. I went to press that hand and press that hand. It's be confusing. Yeah, and maybe that. Now all I need to do is dial it in a bit more. Do a little tweak. Always do a little tweak. Tweaky, tweaky, tweaky. Good. Next, I'm going to take this pattern, this defining bit of rhythmic stuff for the bass sound, LFO2, and assign it to the level of the sub oscillator so that low frequency fundamental, the sub, is moving along with it. So bit of this, bit of that, bit of drag it around, bit of click, bit of probably too far that, just guessing. Ooh. It's maybe just disappearing a touch too much. The sun is really in my eyes, is it? No, it's behind a cloud. Right, what I'm going to do now is also use the original sample again, but this time in a whole different way. I'm going to drag it into the noise oscillator. So, noise oscillator, I'll just turn these off for now, and I'll drag in the original thing, original Don, and then now, turn up the level. It's coming out through the noise oscillator, but it's a bit stupid right now. What I want to do is get it moving in time with LFO2. See how that'll work? It will give each of the little sounds a bit of fullness. It sounds cool. grittiness, top end fullness, and it's just it sounds cool, okay? So it's like layering up I touch the keyboard, the Ableton Push. It's like layering a noise sample, but I'm using the paper shredder sound because that's the spirit of the challenge. So maybe pitch it up. Yeah. Good, I like it there. Right, turn everything else back on. Boing, boing, boing. For reference, I'll turn the noise oscillator off and on. It's subtle, but makes a difference. Ow! Awesome. So I have a bit of a sound going here, a bit of a bass line, but it needs more sparkling up. It needs more ear candy, more sonic pizzazz, more kind of sparkles, fun, bubbles, and arm waving, or just like bits of interest. I want to make it more pizzazzy. Does that make sense? I basically just want to make it sound better, and to do that, I'm going to use effects. However, the effects I have in mind are really CPU intense, so I'm going to record this down into a little audio clip, and that will give me a bit of audio that I can process and then freeze and flatten, process, freeze and flatten, and so on and so on and so on, such that my computer does not explode. Kaboom! Right, so now I've got to commit to a note. Oh no, what about... I mean, it's the one I've been playing. Bit of that. In fact, why don't I also do another note? Just for the lols. Lol, lol, lol. No, shall I? Yes. 8 bars. Make it longer, make it longer, make it longer, make it longer, and deactivate. Maybe that can just be for 1. Oh, look at that. It's like a proper little bit of bass line. 8 bars. Wowzers, trousers. And then, because pitch bend is a clip thing, you need to go into the little E for energy. And then I'm going to have this go... Yeah, down. So, doing, 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 down, 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 in the down. A complete der brain. Sometimes I'm just a massive der brain. Right. So that is that. Right, resetted the pitch bend. Now I can bounce it. Like a bouncy ball. Freeze. Flatten. And then cool. Maybe do a bit of a loop, bit of a Command L. Cool, I suppose. I do suppose, actually. It's pretty cool. First sparkle is a subtle one, but a preset that I love in Decimort. Decimort being a D16 plugin that does bit crushing, but also kind of filtering and good bit crushing, not just simple bit crushing. And it splits it off into left and right speakers, so you can get stereo width by having different bit crushing over here and over here. It's really cool. But yeah, it's a pretty subtle preset, but it's just going to give it that extra bit of top end bitiness, because I want this to be more... It's definitely going to be a bitey bass sound. At the moment, it's like a little lion going. I want it to be like a big lion going. Make sense? Yeah, it makes sense. Like that. But in noise, right? So browse. Oh no, let's just find that. I know what preset I'm looking for. So go to stereo wide. See what I mean? Lovely stuff. And let's bounce that down to audio. What options? Always check. Yeah, there's no quality settings, so that's okay. Bounce it down to audio. Freeze. Flatten. Also, it means you're committing to ideas. You can't go backwards that way, which is good for decision making. Next is trash 2. Yes, to make width, convolution reverb. I have another go-to that I love called Wide Dirt. You're probably thinking that doesn't sound good at all because of the name. Incorrect. It sounds amazing. That's why I'm doing it. So, trash module off. Convolve module on. Body Why dirt? Now I'll leave the mix at 100 so you can hear it, and then I'll ease back to a position that I like. And again. Just gives it that bit of extra subtle width. Lovely stuff. Conceptually, what I'm doing with all these little bits of subtle sparkle and interest is making the sound interesting and detailed and fun for headphones. But because I'm not setting the dry wet really high, you don't hear it necessarily as a big obvious effect, which would maybe ruin the compatibility if, say, played back through a big speaker system where you don't want a wet sound, you want quite a dry sound. Hands have been crazy today, crazy. Right. Bounce that down, bounce that down, bounce it down like a bouncy ball. And then what's next? What's next? Dimension expander, dimension expander. Now, some of you are thinking, you can't do that because I've already gone out of Serum. Well. Steve Duda, before the days of Serum, actually coded dimension expander into a little thing that's also available on his website. If I can find it. I'm really bad at Where's Wally. Dimension expander. Now, strangely, must be something slightly different coding-wise, because as you modulate size, when it's playing back, you get these weird, like crackly sort of sound. And that doesn't happen in Serum. So I don't know, maybe Steve Duda was having an off day when he programmed size. Maybe his hair got in his eyes or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think just about that's good. Just a little bit. Gives it some dimension, but also gives it a weird little percussive-y kind of artifact, but a kind of artifact that I rather like, especially when you set the size quite low. That's what I was experimenting, or actually no, quite high actually. It depends on the sound, but basically sometimes you get this weird kind of like percussive-y sort of sound with the dimension expander. That's what you might have heard, and it's cool. It makes it bigger, but also kind of cool. Sometimes it's just about making a cool sound. Freeze, freeze, flatten. Look at that. Right, we're getting there. Square. Sprinkles. Let's add some sprinkles. You're probably thinking, multiplier, you're just being stupid now. I mean, you're always pretty stupid, or at least quite a lot of the time pretty stupid. Why have you just said, let's add some sprinkles? You must be having a giraffe, having a laugh. But really, I'm not. I'm being totally serious, because have a look at this. Sigmund delay. Sprinkles. See, I wasn't making stuff up. There's a preset called Sprinkles that I love. It's cool. But of course, that is bonkers, bananas, all kinds of mad. So we're going to pull back the dry so it's insanely subtle. Just super duper subtle. Boing like that. The sort of thing you can probably only hear on headphones, but that's partly why I'm doing it. So it sounds interesting through the old headphones. And also, there's a quality setting on this that can explode computers. Okay, it's on normal, that's good. There is an ultra, which I sometimes leave it as, and then the computer goes boing, and it smashes and springs come out and all sorts of computer explosions, right? Also, I'm not going to bounce that down to audio because that has a delay tail to it, which might sound a bit weird when I bounce it down. So I'm not going to bounce this one down. I'm going to leave it running, and hopefully my computer will survive. Next is reverb. Tora reverb, to be specific. My favorite reverb. And again, I have a preset that I know sounds good because I spend a lot of time making music. I've learned quite a few of the presets. And the one in question is called Hard Walls, I think. Oh, yeah, let's check the settings on here to medium. Good. It was on highest a few days ago. I think I might have changed it down for another video. Do something, multiply. Right, Kate, it's on medium, it's fine, just stop talking, right. Browse, hard walls, where's it gone? No, metal walls, don't want hard walls. There's a really cool pre-delay and a really sparkly, kind of sizzly sort of note to it, like a vibe. Words, it sounds good. I'm gonna ease back on the dry wet for the same reasons as I've been doing previously. So it's subtle. I mean, even there, you look at that and you'd be like, oh no, that's not doing anything. It's like basically zero, but really it's much more than zero. Zero, dry, add that reverb in. go. I rather like that, and I might call that the sound. Yes. Boing. Should we make it bigger? Should we make it look really pretty? I like that, and it's looping through. That's good, that's good, that's good. Awesome. It's done. Let's do the completed sound. How cool was that? Paper shredder into a bass sound via multiplier and the YouTube. I had a lot of fun doing that. That was enjoyable. That was cool. And I got a bit of a lovely little drum and bass line for your brains. Up at multiplier, I will catch you guys on the flippity flip. Put that on the floor, crikey. Oh, I think I nailed the recording and nailed the shot, but oh, that was a lot of it. They're really heavy paper shredders. This is it's a 6-sheet capacity paper shredder. It is let's have a look. It's a 6-sheet capacity paper shredder for doing your paper shredding. And then it says do not put your fingers inside the paper shredder, because it's not for that. And then don't let kids get inside it. That should be obvious. Do not have long hair. Well, I do have long hair, but it's not flappy abouty right now, so that's okay. Do not spray inside it, so I obeyed that one too. And did you hear the bumblebee then? You must have seen that, right? Well, that's it really.